Hi, my name is Garet Christopher. I am in Valley Center. Well, let me tell you the truth. It is Valley Center, but I'm at Harrah's in Rant in Southern California again. I like it here. In any case, hopefully you kind of like the backdrop here. We got the sun. It's right over here. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning, and yeah, it's really nice there. So hopefully you get a good picture of that. What I'm going to talk about here, I'm going to put together my NFL wrap-up from Week 5 and my predictions for Week 6. Check this out. Oh, here are my plugs. GaretChristopher.com, please check it out. I've got a new book coming out here in a couple of weeks, actually. The Takeover Part 1. It's a sci-fi series. You got to check it out. The audiobook, I'm going to do some editing today up in my room. And yeah, it's coming up. I do a weekly podcast on Soundcloud and Spotify. And what else do I have? Yeah, if you go to the website, you'll check these out. Oh, 2 more YouTube channels. This is Garet's Sports Take, of Garet's Movie Take, and Garet's Take. So please check them all out. And when you visit, say hello. Like I said, wave, middle finger, whatever you're going to do, please drop me a line, okay? So I did better last week than I thought. Now, a couple weeks ago, I was down in the dumps because I was 10-6, 10-6, 10-6. I improved last week, actually, 11-5. I'm sorry, not last week, the week before, week 4. I actually went 11-5, so I'm trending upward. I thought I was doing bad. I'm trending upward. And last week, guess what? 12-4, baby, 12-4. We're on the way. The 4 games I lost were the Jets. They didn't win. The Texans, they won. The Raiders, what the heck? They lost. And then San Fran. Yeah, what can you do? But I picked a lot right. So 12-4 last week, but I've got to get a couple of 13-3, 14-2, 15-1 weeks in there to make up for the first 3 weeks of the season. We'll see what happens. Okay, here are my picks for Week 6 of the NFL season 2021. We got the Bucks at the Eagles. That's Thursday night. Now, just so you know, right off the bat, I have seven teams, road teams, winning this week. A couple are kind of like, just kind of go for it, just feel it. I'm using the force a little bit. But as you look at it, to me at this point, there's really only one surprise team. And not that I expect them to be, you know, like 0-5 or 1-4, but they're 5-0. The Arizona Cardinals. But I can say this, I did say that to begin the season, that team should do pretty well. And as the season progresses, they're going to falter a little bit. So they're 5-0. Congratulations to them. The only unbeaten team left in the NFL, I believe. And yeah, but they're going to falter going down the line. Okay, I'm taking the Bucks over the Eagles. This was a tough one. Now the Bucks gave it to my Dolphins. We knew they would, but they gave it to them good last week. So we'll see what happens this week. But I'm taking the Bucks. They're in Philly. And of course Tampa Bay, you know, warmer climate and that kind of a thing. I don't know the weather. I didn't check the weather trend. I probably should have done that. But I'm going to take the Bucks over the Eagles this one, just because of the fact that I think that defense in Tampa Bay will kind of like, you know, give that, I won't call his name again, give that newer quarterback, sophomore quarterback, something to think about, okay? We got my Finns. Actually, they're in London playing Jacksonville. I think Tua's coming back for this week. At this point, I'm hoping they win. God knows what they're going to do. It's actually a road game for them, but they're both in London. And but I'm taking the Finns for this one. The Vikings at the Panthers. All I'm going to say is I'm going to kind of ride on what happened last week. I mean, the Minnesota Vikings didn't like score a lot of points, but they scored some points enough to win. So I'm going to ride those coattails into Carolina. They're in Carolina. So I start off with 3 road teams: the Bucks, the Finns, and the Vikings to win. Chargers at the Ravens. Man, did you see that game Monday night? I was actually at a restaurant watching the Dodgers. By the way, 2-2. We're going to Game 5 in Oracle. The Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants, the hated rivals, for Game 5. What else can you ask for? This was kind of preordained, right? So that'll be what, Thursday, right? Thursday night. Whew, those gray hairs, man, they're popping up. Anyway, so I'm watching and I'm like looking at the fact that I think that Baltimore was down, what, 22-9 or something like that at some point in time. I'm like, wow, I think they could still come back, but it's going to be tough. And there you go. And to be very honest, you know, if Lamar Jackson doesn't fumble the ball there at the 2-yard line or whatever it was, they would have won by 2 scores or at least 10 points. So that fumble really changed things around, but they still came back and won the game. But it was a really good game, really good Monday night game. So I'm taking the Ravens. Again, riding on coattails. I'm taking the Ravens, even though the Chargers are having a great season. They're doing really, really well, but I'm taking the Ravens for that one. Rams at the Giants. This is my upset of the week. I'm taking the Giants. They're in New York. I know it's the Rams, and the Rams are doing very, very well, but I'm going to take the Giants for this one, all right? Texans at the Colts. Colts are 1-4. Texans we knew were going to suck. By the way, If I'm Stephen Ross, I'm sure I've brought this up before, but if I'm Stephen Ross, owner of the Dolphins, I think he wants Deshaun Watson. Do you take him? Do you get him in there? But to be very honest, if you bring Deshaun Watson into that team, that doesn't change a whole lot. He's a good quarterback. He's a great quarterback, in fact. But they have a lot more than that going on in that, in that organization. For whatever reason, we thought it was just a quarterback that needed to really up their game. Everything else was good. Defense, the receiving core, tight ends, all this kind of stuff. There's all kinds of stuff wrong in Miami land. But, okay, Texans at Colts. I'm a Dolphins fan, so that's why I keep talking about them. I'm taking the Colts for this one. They're at home, and that's why I'm taking them. Chiefs at the Washington football team. I'm taking the Chiefs. I think they're going to show up big time in Washington. Although, I'll tell you, I like Washington's moxie, but I'm taking the Chiefs. Packers at the Bears. I have a hard time thinking Aaron Rodgers is going to lose to a rookie quarterback. So I'm taking the Packers for that reason. So that's one, two, three, already 5 road teams. Bengals at the Lions. It's the Bengals. It's the Lions. Roar. I'm taking the Lions. Cardinals at the Browns. This is where I think the Cardinals lose. And I keep saying this about, they'll probably go like 10-0, but I keep saying this, but I'm taking the Browns in this one. Hey, the Browns scored, what, 42 points this past week? I think it was 42, much more, like triple what I thought they would score. I'm taking the Browns for this one. The Cowboys at the Pats. This was a tough one. I think the Cowboys are due for a loss, because I don't think they're going to go like, 15-2 this season, but I'm taking them over the Pats. I think they're going to ride in a little bit. I don't think it's time to give them a loss that they probably shouldn't lose, because they shouldn't lose to the Patriots. And I think it's too soon to call a game where they, shouldn't, but they do lose. I'm taking the Cowboys in this one. Raiders at the Broncos. I should take the Raiders. They're in Denver. Of course, that's a humongous rivalry, right, forever. And that goes back to the LA versus Denver thing. People in Denver really don't like people in LA, and LA doesn't like the fact that people in Denver don't like them, blah, blah, blah. So back when the Raiders were in LA, man, that just created a humongous, situation there. But, and it, spills out now. Spills out in Oakland, spills out in Las Vegas, doesn't matter where they're from. The Raiders could be from Wyoming, and it wouldn't matter. I'm taking the Broncos. Not that I, see the Raiders losing 2 in a row. And which way are you going to go with this? John Gruden resigned as head coach. First it was he was being let go. Now he resigned. They give him that much, but there's no saving face with this one. And by the way, as far as that topic is concerned, how do you feel about that? Something the guy did several years ago. We all make mistakes. God, if I were called on the carpet for all the things I've done over my past, I should be here with no food, no water, and no shoes. And no teeth, actually. But at the same time, I was talking to someone in my job yesterday, and they made a very, very, very valid point. If I do something, if all the stuff that I've done is brought up to the forefront, who cares? I'm not in the public eye. John Gruden is in the public eye. What are the Raiders going to do? They had to make a decision there. I think they were forced into it, regardless of what they think about the guy. If he's character now, or if he's this, whatever, like that great coach, whatever the case may be. They had to do something, and I think you have to make that decision. So there you have it. So I don't know which way the Raiders are going to go. Coming out of losing their head coach, do they kind of like wallow in self-pity for a couple of weeks? Do they come out fired up and just beat the crap out of the Broncos? I think there's character on that Raiders team. I think there's a lot of grit and toughness, and let's get to it on that team. I'm going to take the Broncos. I'm going to take the Broncos because I kind of see the same thing out of them, not to the extent of Las Vegas. But I'm going to take the Broncos this week. So the Raiders will lose 2 in a row, and then they'll right the ship and then go on from there. Seahawks at the Steelers. I'm taking the Steelers. Although now that I think about it, Russell Wilson will probably have a huge game. It's a Sunday night game, but I'm still going to take the Steelers. I'm going to stick with my pick. That's what I'm regretting. Even now as I'm speaking, that's what I'm regretting, but I'm going to take the Steelers. Bills at the Titans. Titans looked good last week. They look like they are on the right track. The Bills have looked good every week. And I'm taking the Bills, my 7th road team. That's a tough one because I think Tennessee has the opportunity to win this game. I think right now they're 4-2. And the Bills, of course, what are they? 4-1 or not 4-2, 3-2. Bills 4-1. But I'm taking the Bills. I trust them. I've said from the get-go that I think that team right there, they're going to win the AFC East, and that's a no-brainer now. And they're going to be tough. Yeah, really, really tough. All right, well, there you have it. They're my picks for Week 6 and my wrap-up for Week 5. I'm pumped up. You know, a couple weeks ago I was wallowing in self-pity in a room in the dark. Now I'm out here in the bright sunshine. I got up early just for this because I wanted to express my happiness with myself that I was 12-4 last week and 11-5 a week before. Boom, I'm on the uptrend. All right, hey, thanks so much for checking in. My name is Garet Christopher. Please visit GaretChristopher.com and my other YouTube channels. And oh, and I also have the books on Audible. And I'm going to do the Takeover Part 1, also available on Audible. I'm looking for a Halloween release because it's a sci-fi series, kind of spooky, kind of scary. And yeah, that's my goal right now, as for a Halloween release. Okay, hey, take care. Have a great day. Thanks.